back, everyone. My name is Brandon Elliott, your host to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. Super excited today for our guest, Mr. Chris Rood. What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, man. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course, man. I'm feeling a little sick today, but I'm good. I'm here for it. I'm super excited for you to be joining.
Thank you, man. Hope you feel better.
Yeah. So just if you wouldn't mind, just dive in a little bit. Exactly who you are and what you do, where you come from. Okay.
Well, my name's Chris Rood. I'm from Lafitte, Louisiana. I'm 36 years old. Been an entrepreneur my whole life. I guess pretty much my whole life. I was selling basketball and baseball cards in 4th and 5th grade to make a hustle, always selling people and, why they should buy this particular rookie card or that particular all-star card. And always had a knack for, communicating and selling people on products and, always wanted to start my own business since I was probably, 15, 16 years old. I've always had that drive to want to, start my own business. I never had the idea, I'm going to work for somebody.
Yeah.
And, didn't do really well at school, was, labeled ADD, ADHD, all those different types of stupid, labels, because I was super active, I was kind of I could say an obnoxious child because I had so much energy. It was uncontrollable, right? I was just all over the place. And so it didn't fit right in a school environment. Anyway, barely passed high school, went to college, ended up graduating college. But while I was in college, my sophomore year, I wanted to start my own business. So I looked at, different ideas. I was like, man, what the hell kind of business can I start? And I ended up starting an on-site oil change car wash business and a rock chip repair business out of the back of my truck while I was a sophomore in college. So started doing that. And what I did is I made a bunch of cards and bought a few filters and wrenches. I didn't even know how to change oil. I think my dad showed me how to do his. Yeah. I just figured it out, right?
Yeah.
Bought some wrenches, bought $100 worth of wrenches and tools and started making some cards and handing it out to people and then selling them on the value of me coming to them, right? The service of me coming to them, washing their car, changing their oil while they're at work or at their house so they don't have to bring it to a shop. And started doing really well with it, right? And started making some good money. With 2 years passed, I'm graduating college and man, I'm making like $100,000 a year as a 23-year-old, right? 24-year-old.
Okay.
And I'm like, dude, I'm not going to get a job. I'm going to keep doing this, right? So kept doing that, was doing really well with it. Decided to flip my house about a year and a half getting out of college. The house I was living in, the real estate values had skyrocketed.
And
because
you purchased that home?
Yeah, no, I built it from right after college. I built it while I was in college. My senior year, I built the house.
Okay.
And this is post Katrina. You're probably too young to remember. You remember Katrina when that big hurricane?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah. So what happened was Katrina came and hit New Orleans, right? Wiped it out. So all these people that were living in New Orleans moved west.
Yep.
Lafayette, Baton Rouge, and Houston.
Yep.
Well, so, what happened was, demand for housing came up and it was a low supply. So what happens is price rises big time because there's not enough product.
Of course.
Well, I was aware enough that I was watching all this and I was watching the real estate market. And like people were selling a house for like almost 50% more than what they paid for it like 2 years before that, or even sometimes 100% more.
Yeah.
And I was like, I told my wife, I said, we got to capitalize on this.
Oh yeah.
So that was like my first experience with real estate. I put it for sale. A month later, we sold it and made $125,000 when I was 24 years old.
Woo.
Yeah, that was my first flip house, right? And I didn't do it by, I wasn't planning on building that house to flip. It just so happened, I timed the market right.
Yeah, that's what's up.
And took that money and bought a quick lube mechanic shop in the busiest part of my town in Lafayette. Paid, I think we paid $860,000 for that. So that way I could, get out of having to go to people's houses and travel so much because that's not scalable like having a shop and have them come to you.
Yeah.
So bought that shop.
Was that a franchise?
No, this is just, I bought an independent shop. I bought it from a guy who was distressed. He had drug problems and he wasn't doing good with the business. He was behind on taxes and I got it for a good deal.
Okay.
Took that $125,000, put it down on that building. Started doing really well with that. bought another foreclosure as my next house, stayed in there for like a year and a half, and then did the same, or maybe it was a year, did the same thing, flipped that house, made 60 grand, bought another shop, used that money to buy another. Go ahead.
No, really quick. For the foreclosure, did you go to the auction or did you get that right from the bank?
The foreclosure I got from
It was a REO.
I'm trying to remember. That was like 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Yeah, it was on MLS.
Okay.
It was listed.
Yeah, the bank took it back.
The bank, correct. The bank had already taken it back. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So did that and flipped that one, made 65 grand, used that to buy another shop.
Yeah.
And so I started scaling, right? And maybe back up. I sold a piece of property that I flipped before that. In between the transition of that first house and the second house, I flipped a piece of raw land on the river that I bought and sold and made like 30 grand in 2 months or 4 or 5 months. So I was like, man, this is easy money, like flipping real estate, right?
Yeah.
So used all that money. I bought a third shop. And then I ended up buying a fourth shop, and I was scaling, right? I started making really good money. And I was like, man, I had to lay off the real estate because I was 25 years old making $350,000 a year.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And I was like, man, this is so I had like 35 employees, so I couldn't focus on real estate anymore. So I did that for about 4 or 5 years, made a lot of money, did really well with that. And then I was probably about 28, 29. 4 or 5 years passed by. I made a lot of money, and I said, you know what? I'm going to get back into real estate. I started buying up single family homes.
Okay.
On MLS, right?
Yeah.
Bought about $4 or $5 million worth of single family homes on MLS by making tons of offers, lowball offers until something stuck, right? I just made tons of offers, right? That's the secret to getting deals on MLS is just make a lot of offers. Yeah.
Get out there.
I'd make the average was like 22 offers before I got a yes, right? You got to go for no, right?
So now, for financing, were you were doing traditional bank financing or
traditional bank financing? Yeah, I had excellent credit. I was I was buying them at 70, 75, 80 cents on the dollar. So the bank would give me 80-20, meaning they would give me 80% of appraised value. So as long as it would appraise for 80% of appraised value, I didn't have to put any money down.
Really?
So I was putting no money down.
Okay.
So and got some pretty good deals. Bought about $4 or $5 million worth of those, and then.
Sorry to cut you off really quick.
Yeah. Really
quick. So when has the lending? Was that like a traditional, like small in town bank, or has those policies kind of changed now? Because lenders that I was under the assumption that it would be very similar to that, and then my lender personally, they still want a down payment even if there's plenty of equity.
I'm glad you bring that up because I have a lot of students that ask that same thing. Okay. So with bigger banks, they're always going to want you to put money down. The key is to find small community banks in your area and build relationships with them and show them the value of the deals that you bring and show them, hey, look, I can bring this deal that I can buy for 60, 70 cents on the dollar. Yeah. In the beginning, they may make you because in the beginning, I had to put money down too. I had to put 20% down on like 3 or 4 houses. Then they saw like, man, where are you getting all these deals? Like you're buying them for dirt cheap.
Yeah.
And then they finally let me stop putting money down.
Okay.
Right.
Nice.
But I had to build a relationship, you know. They're not just going to do that from the start. So that's a little key piece of key nugget right there for you guys that are trying to get into it. Don't think you can buy real estate with no money down if you're trying to get into rental game.
Yeah.
You got to build the relationship. So
it's all about the relationships and that small bank.
Yes.
Particular area is definitely that's a great point. Cool.
Yeah, stay away from the bigger banks. However, there were only 20-year loans though. The benefit of using the bigger banks, the loan companies like Freddie Mae and Fannie Mac and all them people like that, they'll do those 30-year loans. The small community banks won't do 30-year amortization. They're only going to do 20.
Yeah, they normally have like their own particular
correct
house rules kind of thing.
Yes. And the key is to find an investor-friendly, real estate-friendly bank because not every small community bank likes real estate.
Yeah, that's a great.
You can't just go to a community bank and say, "Hey, Chris Rood told me that you like real estate." That's not necessarily true. You gotta go through them, right? And you gotta find which one likes, single family homes or real estate related investments. So anyway, bought about $4 or $5 million worth of real estate. Did good with that. Got them all rented out for like 12, anywhere from $1,200, $1,500, $1,800, $2,000 a month. Then 2014 came and we had a oil field crash, oil and gas crisis in 2014, which where are you from again? You're from California, right? New Jersey. Okay. Well, you're not really affected by the oil and gas, right? Because all of the South, Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, that's all oil and gas related. That's where all the jobs come from. And as you guys know that, listen, the rental market is only as good as the job market. Remember that. There's a key element that I had to learn the hard way. The rental market is only as good as the job market. Do not buy rentals in an unstable job market. Yep. Because if you don't have people that have jobs, they can't pay you rent. Exactly. So bought $4 or $5 million worth of real estate. Did really good up until 2014. Oil field crashed. We lost thousands of jobs in the area. Started having vacancies left and right. People started moving out. I was like, oh shit, man. I started sucking wind and like getting into negative cash flow. And I was like, shit. I was like, man, I'm losing money. And but before that, when the oil field was booming, everybody had money and jobs. They paid me on time. I was making great money. And that went on, 2 or 3 years. I made good money. But so what I learned from that was, you got to find the sweet spot. You got to find, because I was chasing a little bit higher end rentals instead of that sweet spot. I call it the sweet spot. Yeah. You want to find the sweet spot in rentals, the balance, right? Because not everybody can afford $1,800 a month in rent. However, $1,800 a month in rent may not be this, that's high end for me, but high end where you're at may be $3,000. I don't know. Yeah, every market, it's all relative. Yeah. Right. So exactly. The sweet spot in my area is like $600 to $1,200. Okay. No matter what the economy does, no matter what the job market does, that's going to stay relatively stable because people always need a place to live. And those people that are in that $1,200 to $2,000 rent range, they're just going to jump down into that sweet spot, $600 to $1,200 range. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, of course, for sure.
So what I did was, re-strategized and like, okay, I ain't buying no more higher end rentals. And right around the same time, I was YouTubing like rental properties, real estate investors, and I came across wholesaling. Yeah. And I was like, wholesaling? What the hell is wholesaling real estate? Yeah. How do you wholesale real estate? So to watch before
we get into wholesaling, just to backtrack a little bit, how did you even come up with the idea of like jumping into real estate? You said in college you started building your first home. Like, how did you just start? You wanted the American dream to, have that, your amazing home, your ideal home?
Well, look, I was a hustler.
Did you have a mentor or like any family members that kind of push you towards real estate?
Well, all of my family is entrepreneurs. My dad's an entrepreneur. My stepdad's an entrepreneur. My mom. Yeah. They all own their own businesses. So I grew up around entrepreneurs. So like in my mind, like, that's just what you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just, yeah.
I love it.
It was, yeah. So I was like, we don't go to work. We go create work.
Our business. Yeah.
Yeah. We go create work. So I just knew that, and I'm not knocking people that, cause there's a lot that want to go to work. It's just, being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart. Yeah. People glorify it like it's some type of holy grail. It ain't, dude, it ain't that great. Yeah. It ain't always that great. Sometimes if you can get behind an entrepreneur who's willing to be bold and take a lot of risk and ride his wave, it's almost a safer bet.
Of course. Yeah.
And get behind somebody that's willing to do that. So I'm not knocking people that are not entrepreneurs. So don't take me the wrong way. However, it was just in me, right? Because all my brothers and sisters all went work for the family. I'm the only one that didn't. Okay. And I have 5 other brothers and sisters. They all went work for family. I'm the one. I was an oddball. I was just a little out there. Like I was just you got to be a little crazy and off to be an entrepreneur, right?
That's right. So when it comes down to the real estate aspect, did you have anybody like kind of show you the ropes or anything or recommend, or you were just like, hey, maybe I could do this and just tried it out?
Man, I was so young. The first real estate book I read was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but that's what got me into buying single family homes. I just recognized opportunity at such a young age when I was 24, when I saw the market go up and I saw like I was aware enough for some reason. I didn't read any books about real estate. I don't know. I saw opportunity.
Yeah, I love it. So that's an important key right there. You just need to keep your eyes open-minded to recognize opportunity when it's around.
Yes.
Everywhere. So that's
Yes.
good.
And recognize when things are good, they're not always going to be good.
Exactly. Yes.
And you got to capitalize on that. Just like right now, we're in a bull market and real estate is inflated across the country.
It is.
I got my eye on that big time because it ain't always going to stay like this. We're going to have another huge correction.
Yep.
And I've learned so much the past 10 years that the big players, the smart players, they don't buy right now. They buy when things crash.
Yep.
Because then you can capture lots of equity and value in properties. Look at Warren Buffett. Some of these guys are, they buy a lot of stuff when things are down, when the market crashes. Even in the Great Depression back in the 20s, more millionaires were made back in the Great Depression than any other time in history, because all the smart money comes in when things going down and buy up shit for 20 cents on the dollar, half of what it's worth.
Of course. So now when you started getting all these properties together, how many properties were in your portfolio? And did you max out the amount of loans, or with that traditional, or not traditional, your local bank that you were using, was there like a limit to how many?
Yes. That's a great question, man. This is an awesome question. So you're going to get maxed out at your bank, because I was buying 2 or 3 properties a month. They're going to say, oh, dude, we need to hold up. It's time to, you're going fast. I didn't stop. You just say, hey, no problem, Mr. Banker. You go to another community bank. You show them your portfolio. Hey, these are all cash flowing. I'm making money. What can you do for me? And you just go next. And you just ride every bank and you leverage the crap out of all those different banks. Don't stop because don't deal with one bank. Go to 4 or 5 and get you 10 out of each bank.
That's good. Okay, cool. Cool. So let's jump into wholesaling now.
Okay.
When you actually started, getting that whole process, understanding it, what did that look like? Your first deal, maybe?
So, like I said, I was watching YouTube about real estate investing, and I came across real estate wholesaling. I was like, what the hell? How can you wholesale real estate? Started watching a bunch of videos. I was like, man, this is pretty cool. You can just flip it, get a property in a contract and flip the contract to an investor.
Yep.
I said, I think I could be really good at that, because I noticed, it's a matter of communication skills back and forth. Right. And that's what I was really good at that. I was good at communicating with people. And I said, let me try this out. So I started trying to do it, and I kind of figured it out. And I actually wholesaled a few of my own properties that were in my portfolio and made like 5, 10, 15 grand.
Okay.
But I couldn't put it all together. Right. I was inconsistent. I made 5 grand one month, then 10 grand the next month, then nothing the next month, and then 15 grand the next month. I didn't know what I was doing.
Okay.
So I said, you know what, I'm going to hire a mentor. So I hired a few mentors, like crushed it right out of the park. Like right when I got into it, I think 30 days after my first mentor, I made $47,000 wholesaling real estate.
Now, what would you say now, looking back? What did you kind of give credit towards that? Was it like an accountability partner, or was it that mentor that has already been there and done it to really help you, guide you through any trial and error?
And I would say it was a burning desire to be successful.
Yeah.
You got to want it really bad.
Oh yeah. And once you actually have some money tied up behind it, by having that mentor, then it really kind of.
With specialized knowledge. It's specialized knowledge. I mean, because you don't know what you don't know. And, if you're focusing on different pieces of information that don't align, because it's not specialized knowledge, it's just information. There's a difference between information and knowledge. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's good.
I was getting information on YouTube, not knowledge. Yeah. When you hire a mentor, you're getting organized, specialized knowledge that is hyper-focused to take you to revenue.
Okay.
So then I hired the mentors. So I got everything aligned. I got the information I needed, and I just ran with it. And like I said, I made $47,000 my first 30 days after my mentor. Did really good. I was like, let me hire a couple more mentors. Hired a couple more mentors, did the same thing, did so well in their program. They asked me to go work for them in their sales department. So I worked for them in their sales department, enrolling other students, crushed the game in that too. And then I was like, man, I could do this better than my own mentors. I felt like I was better than my own mentors that showed me how to do this.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to start my own program.
Okay.
So started my own program, and, here we sit, right?
Yeah, yeah. Awesome, man. Congrats. I mean,
Yeah.
that's super awesome. I think something that you just touched base on just a second ago, it really comes down to, especially in real estate, like if people, listeners out there that are just getting started, or, you know, wherever you're at in real estate right now, if you haven't acknowledged or come to understand that this is a relationship business, you know, that this is something that you really need to be out there and talking to people and
Yes.
building rapport, building relationships, getting that other person to know, like, and trust you to actually be able to move forward and actually do business. So I'm glad you talked about that.
Yeah, and look, wholesaling is not for everybody because it requires a certain skill set. It's like I tell all of my students, right? What skills get the deals.
That's right.
Skills get the deals, you know, and I'm not kidding when I say that, because if you're a shy, timid person, you don't need to get into wholesaling because like you said, it's a relationship business. It's a communication business. You're constantly talking back and forth to people, selling the value of the deal you have, selling the homeowner why they should use you, selling the cash investor and why this is a good deal for them to buy it. The people, the guys and girls that I know that crush wholesaling have excellent communication skills. Excellent. Now, if you're not that kind of guy and you don't, you feel like, well, Chris, I'm just not, I'm quiet, I'm shy, I'm timid, but I want to get into real estate. Fine. Go flip houses, buy single family homes. But wholesaling is a niche business. And, it's make sure you are willing to really put yourself out there, communicate with people, and really build rapport and build the relationships, like you said.
Yeah.
100%.
Now, at the same time, if you are a shy and timid person, there's nothing that says that you can't actually get out of your comfort zone and actually put yourself in the front to actually to get out of that shy and timid type of space that you're comfortable in.
100%.
Build that, but it is going to be a challenge. It is going to be constantly pushing you out of your comfort zone. So it's not going to be that quick, easy, late night commercial that you see of just make quick money with no headaches, no problems. So
yeah, anybody tell you that it's easy, they're full of shit.
Yeah,
I mean, it's work. It's work, but it's a highly paid work.
That's right.
You make a lot of money doing it, because you're not trading your time for money anymore. You're trading what? Value. You're trading equity. You're capturing equity in one property from a motivated seller, and you're flipping it for a fee. You're selling that value and equity to an end buyer, a cash buyer. So you're not trading time. You're trading value. It's way more scalable, way more profitable.
And at the end of the day, you're really helping out so many people.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's where like people that are that personality type that is very, in my old mastermind, we had like color types so we could identify, people's personality. So, but that more like loving and caring and wanting to give back all the time, you're really doing exactly that by helping out so many people that are in either a financial crisis, need to move to get to help out some family somewhere else, divorce, death, so many different, I'm sure you've seen.
Oh, absolutely. They cried at the closing table.
Yeah.
They're so thankful. And the sad thing about it is that some wholesalers have a bad rap because like some realtors or people that don't understand wholesaling, they think you're just taking advantage of people. It's not the case. Like these people don't want to use a realtor. Like they may be shy, timid. They may have anxiety. They don't want people in and out of their house. They don't want to list it with a realtor, and they need to sell now. They can't wait 3 to 6 months for a realtor to list their house. Yeah. They need a quick sale, and they don't care about giving up equity. They just want out of their house.
Yeah.
And some people don't understand that. Like, well, Chris, why would somebody sell you their house for 60 cents on the dollar when they can list it with a realtor and get 90, 95? Man, it's all about time and convenience. I'm saving them time in order for them to trade out equity for me. It's equity for time.
Of course.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And at the same time, it's like you're almost like a psychiatrist because you're listening to their problems. You're helping them, you're comforting them. You're providing a solution and making it super easy on them instead of going the traditional route when it comes into all the paperwork and dealing with banks, lenders, or realtors. It can get a little hairy and complicated, a little overwhelming for people. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So when it comes down to actually getting some of these leads, let's talk about that for a second. I know, there's a million different ways to go about getting your leads. How do you actually get yours?
So, man, I'm a little different than most gurus that talk about, the way to get deals. I don't, and this is why I started my own program, by the way, because I'm not a big fan of direct mail. Everybody talks direct mail, direct mail, direct mail.
Yeah. I like that.
And I'll tell you why direct mail. Sorry, somebody tried calling. Okay, so I'll tell you why direct mail is not a good way. I'm not saying it doesn't work, because I've gotten deals from direct mail. But it's not where a newbie should start. It's where you should finish, and I'll tell you why. Direct mail has such a low response rate, and it's so expensive that if you add up dollar for dollar what you're spending in marketing, the return on investment is terrible, and it's very slow. That's why I would say 90% or 80% of most wholesalers that get in this business quit or fail, because they start with direct mail and they run out of marketing money.
Okay.
Because you can spend $5-10 grand on a direct mail campaign and not get anything.
Yeah.
And the average person that's getting into wholesaling, they may only have 5-10 grand to get started.
Yeah, you're right.
So I don't recommend you getting in direct mail. Direct mail is where you finish last. I like inbound marketing. I don't want to chase motivation. I want motivation to chase me. I want people to see my marketing, and if they're chasing me, guess what? They're super motivated. If you're putting out 10,000 letters to an area,
okay,
you're chasing motivation. And what's the chances of you getting a motivated seller? Let's look at this. The sun, moon, and stars have to line up. First of all, they have to receive the letter. They have to open it. They have to read it. They have to be motivated, and they have to have equity. That's 5 different things.
You're right.
So you see what I'm saying? And the probability of that is very low. That's why the response rate is so low. However, if I do a type of inbound marketing, let's say a bandit sign, or SEO or PPC, guess what? They're looking for me. So they've qualified themselves. So they're motivated because they're looking for somebody to solve their problem versus me trying to go find a motivated seller.
Okay.
So I do 0 direct mail, and I make, our company does anywhere from 60 to 100 grand a month in wholesale deals. Sometimes we do over 100 grand with 0 direct mail. And when I tell people that, some people don't believe me, but we kill it with bandit signs, Facebook ads, SEO, PPC, newspaper articles, radio ads, and branding, right? Because I'm not chasing motivation, and I don't have to have a huge call center, because I don't have hundreds of calls coming in from people pissed off because I sent them a letter. If you're going to do a huge mail campaign, you're going to have lots of calls come in. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You filter through all the calls. I remember when I did my first direct mail campaign, I was like, man, I was on the phone all day, like answering calls, either telling me to F myself or take me off their call. Don't ever mail me another letter, or I'm not motivated, or my house, what you going to offer me? Like, those people just weren't motivated. I was like, man, there's got to be a better way. So that's the difference between chasing motivation and having motivation chase you. I hyper focus on inbound marketing, meaning I set up marketing out there and I let them come to me and call me versus me trying to find them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, I like that. So it's basically you're focusing on like Facebook ads and
Facebook ads, SEO,
and
bandit signs, SEO, PPC, Facebook ads. I do a lot of branding. I'm always handing out cards to
what
where
what is the PPC? Is that
that's pay per click, Google AdWords.
Okay, cool.
That's people type in and go on the internet because they're looking. If they're typing in "sell my house fast," guess what? They got a problem.
Yeah. Okay.
They're calling me because they have a problem.
Yeah. So really directing towards all motivated people because they're going to reach out to you. That's huge. I like that.
They're chasing me.
Yeah. That's a whole different mind shift right now from you.
That's right.
I love
That's
it.
right.
Okay.
Don't chase motivation. Have motivation chase you.
Okay. Now, when you're getting all these leads coming in, because I'm sure, once you put it out there and you're having a bunch of different avenues, bandit signs, pay-per-click, SEO, do you have a team that is lined up around helping you, leverage your time? Because I'm sure even with that, you have to do a lot of due diligence.
Yeah. I mean, look, here's the thing. A lot of people ask us, Chris, you have a team? Yes, but I lead from the front. I have 3 employees, but I'm not an entrepreneur that sits behind his desk and smokes a cigar every day and watches the numbers. I'm not built that way.
Okay.
And I'm not knocking at people that are built that way, because there's a lot of people I know that I admire that can do that. I just can't do that. I'm so ADD. I have to be in the trenches. I have to be talking with people.
Okay.
I have to I lead from the front.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and I'm just built that way. So I'm always working. If I'm not working and creating, I'm not happy. So basically, I do a lot of my own acquisitions. I'm working 3 different markets. I'm working the Lake Charles market. I'm working the Lafayette market. I'm working the Baton Rouge market here in Louisiana.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be getting it. So basically, I live in Lafayette, so I work that whole area. Like, I do acquisitions for that area. Then then I have a partner in Lake Charles. He works that area. Then I have a acquisition manager in Baton Rouge. He works that area. And then I have a guy that puts out bandit signs. And then I have my office girl who does all of my online marketing, controls all that, does all my Facebook ads, PPC, SEO, the newspaper articles. So my strategy is more of a, I teach more of a hands-on how to run, how to actually do the business versus how to set up a bunch of systems and have it work for you remotely. It's not my style. I don't teach that, because I want to be in the business. I don't want to be on the sidelines. I want to be in the game.
Okay. Yeah. No, I love that. That sounds great. So the towns that you were just naming, are those cities or?
Those are cities.
Okay. So what is the radius and what area is that investing? What area?
So I'm in Louisiana.
Okay.
And I live in Lafayette, Louisiana, South Central Louisiana.
Is that like a 2-hour kind of radius, or?
Yeah. It's an hour. It's an hour. Lake Charles is an hour west of me, and Baton Rouge is an hour east of me. So I'm working. What is that? A 2-hour radius?
Yeah.
All the way around.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how we work. And I always tell my students, you want to master your backyard first. All these people trying to do virtual wholesaling when they first get started, master your backyard first. Understand your market. Know what areas are good. Know what areas are bad. And conquer your market first. Then you go and conquer outward.
So let me ask you, just kind of, thinking about myself right now with my particular area. My market is sunny San Diego, California. And I'm looking to do a couple fix and flips out here, but I'm trying to link up with some wholesalers, and the ones that I do find out here, there's truly not that many that I'm running across, but the ones that are out here, they're selling it because the market that we're in at, the
full retail.
Yeah, the full retail. And I'm like,
yep. That's what I'm hearing everywhere.
Yeah.
That's why you should always have your own wholesaling business.
Of course.
You put yourself in first position. I do fix and flip, and I do buy and hold and all those other strategies, but I wouldn't be such a good fix and flip guy and a good buy and hold guy if I didn't have my own wholesaling business, because what happens is it puts me in first position and I capture all that equity. If I'm buying from another wholesaler, I'm having to pay him a fee. I'm having to, you skip the middleman. So my suggestion to you is I don't even buy from other wholesalers. In all the years that I've been doing this, I've bought one deal from another wholesaler.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Because I get my own pipeline of deals that come through, and I cherry pick the best ones and keep them in my portfolio.
Yeah. You're hands on. I like that. Is there like a certain ratio that you like to keep for yourself, or it really just depends on the deal?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, price, I like location. It really depends on location. The premium pieces of real estate that are in good locations that I capture a lot of equity on, I'll typically keep. Indestructible real estate, meaning areas that are always going to be desirable.
Yeah.
I keep those in my portfolio.
So currently the area that I invest in Ohio, it's more of like a buyer's market, and there's, just from what I've seen, there's so much opportunity over there that I'm considering starting to just do some wholesales.
I agree. I've got 3 students in Ohio killing it. You're absolutely right. Ohio is a hot market to wholesale in.
Okay. But now that difference when it comes to the long distance, I feel like it's a task at itself just by, being my own property manager and looking for new projects that need tremendous amount of work for the rehab. What would you recommend for that long distance?
Really good boots on the ground. Like you need to have a partner who's really good, who you really trust. Yeah. You got to really trust him, because he can screw you. Have somebody that really knows the market over there, partner up with him and trade value, right? If he's got the talent and skill to really close people, and you got the cash for the marketing, you trade marketing money, for his value and skill of closing deals, and y'all just trade like that, right?
Okay.
that's how I would structure that if I were you. You put up the marketing dollars and he does all the work.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. So, okay, let's talk about some learning curves. I'm sure over the years of, getting to where you're at today, that even with the mentorships and learning from other people's mistakes, I'm sure you've come across of a couple yourself, along with some wins as well. I do want to talk about some killer success stories, but if you wouldn't mind, I feel like a lot of people out there, especially in our society, for some reason, everybody's so scared to fail. And as entrepreneurs, I think we all kind of acknowledge and realize that I'd rather fail sooner than later and really just get that experience and learn from it. Because if I fail now, then I know next time I'm going to do better. And I'm going to, everybody sees all the success stories, but they don't actually understand all the failures. You're always going to fail way more than you actually succeed.
That's right. But you only need to succeed 1 or 2 times really big. And that's right. It.
Yeah.
That's a great question, man. I'm glad you bring that up, because the story I just told you before about me failing because I bought so many high-end rentals when the market crashes, it's not always good. Yeah. That's why I brought that up. I ain't going to sit here and sell you a bill of goods and say, oh, I do everything perfect and life is grandiose and I'm perfect and I make all the best moves. Dude, I bought some stupid houses that I should have never bought. But, you like for you young guys that are out there, you got to be bold and you got to be courageous. You got to have courage to get into the real estate game. Courage, because you're putting your ass on the line, especially if you're starting to, borrow money and like you don't feel comfortable. But the way to get over that anxiety of not wanting to jump in, but you have so much built up anxiety because you don't know if it's a good deal or not, is building up knowledge. The more knowledge you have, the more certainty you have.
Yeah.
And when you're certain,
you'll bring so much confidence, and then the confidence is what goes a long way.
Yes. So when you have certainty, you lose a lot of that anxiety of not knowing what you do. You got to know, like you can't not know. You got to know the market. You got to know, that's what's knowing this is knowledge. So build up knowledge, hire mentors, read a lot of books.
That's right.
Deep dive, and there's, like I said before, there's a difference between information and knowledge.
That's right.
Make sure you're getting knowledge, not information.
Yeah.
So, my learning, what I can tell you guys is that, 2 things, be bold and be courageous, have courage. And the learning curve would be to stop being scared to invest in yourself. Stop being scared to hire a mentor. Dude, I've spent $250,000 on mentors in the past 10 years.
That's right.
But it's paid off itself 10, 20 times, you've got to invest in yourself. And the fact that, you're going to fail. Like I failed, like I messed up. I bought all those high-end rentals and I failed, but I learned so much from that. I learned what the sweet spot is, right? I thought I was cool. I was like, because there was no competition in those higher-end markets, higher-end houses. And I was getting all these great deals. However, when the economy crashed, it's just nobody could afford those rentals. Now I know, you got to buy affordable housing. Not unaffordable house. You got to be in the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Find your sweet spot.
Yeah. You can't get caught with when the music turns off, you somewhere out of your range of that fine balance.
Yes. Yeah. If I had to look back, I would have never bought all those high-end, because I bought $5 million worth of houses and they were cash flowing, marginal returns when I could have taken that $5 million and bought more affordable houses and tripled my inventory and tripled my cash flow, and it would stayed rented because it's in that sweet spot.
Okay. So when it comes down to cash flow, what do you look for? Like, is there certain deals that you won't actually pick up unless it hits a certain amount of cash flow per month?
Well, I mean, it depends if you're paying cash or if you're leveraging. I don't pay cash for a whole lot of deals. I do pay cash for a lot of deals just to get the deal and offer cash, but I turn around and refinance. Like I'm buying a trailer park right now next week. I'm paying cash for it, $405,000, but I'm refinancing to get my money back. But the way I was able to get them all the way down to $400,000, because this property's probably worth $600,000, is I offered all cash, close quick.
That's right.
So, the strategies of cash flow, I would say, is, you got to look at it from a perspective of, let's just look at it from, because most of the people on here are probably going to borrow money to buy their first rental property.
Yep.
So let's keep the numbers round, which I know these numbers is all relative depending on your market. If you're going to buy $100,000 house, it's worth $100,000. Just because you buy a piece of real estate does not make you a real estate investor. Meaning, if the house is worth $100,000 and you paid $90,000, guess what?
Yeah.
You're not a real estate investor. You're what's called a full retail buyer.
That's right. Yeah.
You got to buy with value and equity.
That's right.
Not pay full price for anything. On a $100,000 house, you should be paying no more than $60,000 for it.
Yep.
Now, with that said, you want to be in that sweet spot of, this is how I look at it. You look for jobs. Like, I'm going heavy right now in Baton Rouge because there's so much infrastructure. So there's factories, there's oil refineries, there's jobs galore.
Okay.
The rental market is indestructible. So I'm going heavy with rentals over there because there's always going to be jobs. And so first of all, the first thing I would say is make sure you invest in areas where the job market is super stable. And no matter what the economy does, there's always going to be jobs. So that way you have tenants and renters to be able to pay you rent. Secondly, buy with that value added equity. Don't pay full price for anything. You need to pay half of what it's worth, or maybe a little bit more, 60 cents on the dollar, 65 cents on the dollar. Yeah. Buy in areas with, around schools, decent school districts, I like brick on slab houses. I don't like little wood frame houses. Yeah. Although I do still buy some wood frame houses if I get a smoking hot deal on it, but brick on slab houses are just indestructible.
Yeah.
What else can I tell you? As far as cash flow, if I'm going to buy a house that's worth $100,000, I pay $60,000 for it. I need it to get at least $1,000 a month so I can cash flow about $400 a month on it.
Of course. So the properties you have now, do you have like a strategy for them? How many did you say?
Right now, we probably own, once we close in the trailer park, we're going to own about 65 properties. But I have a bunch of other, I don't just own single family homes. I own 2 beach houses. I have a beach house in Orange Beach I have a beach house in Destin, Florida. Okay. So I'm not just in single family homes and I'm not just in beach house. I mean, we have trailers and then we're buying this trailer park. But after we close in this trailer park, we'll have, I think, around 65 units.
Okay. Now, it sounds like you're kind of, you'll get anything if it's a right deal, right? In real estate, am I correct? Yep. Or is there something that you won't actually go for, like condos, or you have one?
Well, I don't like condos in a sense that I bought this condo on the beach, 3 years ago because it was such a good deal and it cash flowed from the get-go. And I paid $230 for it 3 years ago and now it's worth $350. Okay. Because I recognize that the market was still a little down, right? Remember, you don't buy when things are booming, you buy when things are a little bit down. That's right. And I'm not saying you can't buy deals when things are booming because there's still deals out there, but just be very careful when you're in a boom market. It's not always going to be booming. But I would say, I don't necessarily have one particular thing that I only buy. I look for opportunities and I look for value and equity. Where can I capture the most equity and value? Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, of course.
Like this trailer park, I ran the numbers. We did an income approach. It's going to appraise around $650,000, $700,000, and I'm able to pick it up for $405,000. Because it's a burnout landlord. The landlord died and the family inherited it, and all the rents are really low. Because let me just analyze this deal for you. This is why I bought it.
Please.
So it's a 24-unit trailer mobile home park.
Okay.
It's got 17 trailers on it, so it's got 7 more empty spots where I can haul in new trailers. Yeah. Now, this guy that had it for like 30 years, and he died. Well, most of the trailers are way below market rent, meaning the average rent in that area is around $650 to $750 per trailer or per unit. His average rent in there is $450. Yeah. Because why?
I do that so often. People just, they step away.
Because he's old.
Yeah, they get comfortable and they're just like, it's on autopilot. I won't look at the market. I won't look at the rents going up around. And then you wonder why nobody's ever leaving, which is good. I mean, you're not, but at the same time, you're missing out on a lot of capital.
Well, I noticed that it's a common thread. The baby boomer generation, the biggest demographic in history, they own a lot of real estate. They're all retiring. I get so many deals from baby boomers, but they're stuck in their ways, meaning, he's been having that trailer park for 30 years and they got people that have been in there for 15, 20 years. So he's stuck at the current rent that was 20 years ago and never went up with inflation. So I see that. I see
Yeah.
that value of where I can up the rent.
Yep.
And he's got 17 of those, and the average rent is $450 when the average rent should be $650. So I know right off the bat I can slowly increase the rent, or as I evict them, I can get new tenants in there that'll pay market value rent. I can haul in 7 more trailers.
Yep.
And get, $750. So I did the math on it. Once it's all said and done, I think it was right at 16. It's getting $7,250 right now in income. I can double that income. I can get it up to, I'm sorry, it was 16. If I get every one of them up to an average of 750, which I can probably get them up to at least a 650. I can get a minimum of 14 grand. So I've almost doubled the cash flow. So if I double the cash flow in the next year, I could turn around and flip that. If it's getting $14,000, I could turn around and flip it and probably get $1 million for that trailer park.
Hell yeah.
From an investor.
Yeah.
So I see how I see opportunity.
Yeah. It's all about recognizing the opportunity. Right.
Yes. And being aware of your market, current rent in your area, the opportunity of seeing that there's room for growth.
Yes. Yeah, man. I love that strategy. I see some people taking advantage of it, and then a lot of the newbies out there, they don't understand that concept yet. So I'm really, really glad that you touched base on that. So
they get scared.
Yeah.
They get scared of it.
Yeah. And they settle for what the seller is used to or what they're taking. So,
right.
But recognizing that opportunity is so, so important. I feel like that's like the topic of this podcast right now. I mean, it's super, super important. So with your strategy, do you like to tend to leverage as much as possible, or keep that fine line of equity within the property as well?
Well, it depends on the times. The times right now, interest rates are at historical lows. You need to leverage the shit out of money right now.
Yep.
Back in the 70s and 80s, well, I was born in the 80s, interest rates were like 12.5%, 14%.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. You can borrow money right now at anywhere from 3 to 5%.
Yeah.
You need to be leveraging money. You need to be borrowing as much money as the bank will let you. Like I said, I pay cash for properties, but just to get the deal, just to offer cash to get, a quick close. Here's a cash offer. I'll close your house in 2 weeks, just to get them to agree to my low ball offer. But I turn around and I refinance and get all my cash back.
Yeah. No, I do the same strategy. I do the burst strategy, if you're familiar with that. So, so you buy a distressed property, you do a full rehab on the property, you rent it out, and then you refinance, you get all your money back, and then you repeat the process. So,
yep.
Yeah, man, I love that. I was talking to some people recently, and they're super against leveraging. It's almost like what is his name? I forget the guy's name. The guru that with financing that says never to.
Oh yes. You're talking about man, stay out of Dave Ramsey. Stay out of debt. That's so dumb. That's middle class mindset.
Yeah.
You will never get rich doing that. Never.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. So it's so frustrating. I'm like, I just don't understand that concept, because I see so many people, along with myself. I mean, I'm not in your position, or like in something that, where I'd like to be. I got plenty of potential. But at the same time, the success that I do have at this current moment, it's from leveraging. And I've taken advantage of like 0% APR with my credit cards for 18 months to do a full rehab and and to actually purchase properties as well. So
look, leverage can be dangerous. Leverage can be dangerous if you don't buy right.
That's right. Yeah.
If you buy it right, if you buy it for half of what it's worth, or 60 cents on the dollar, how can you lose?
Yeah.
Let's just say you have a 20% market correction. The economy crashes. All values come down 20%. I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
Because what it's worth. So my property that was worth 100,000 is worth 80. Well, guess what? I paid 50 grand for it.
That's right.
I don't care. I really don't care. Now, you got to be careful. If you paid 80,000 and you have a 20% correction, now you're at parity. You're into it for what it's worth. But it's all about buying it right and not overpaying as an investor.
Of course. Something that I personally, as well, that I like to gear towards, because I'm in the buy and hold strategy, and and I really like the area that my properties are in to make sure that there is going to be like a supply. Like there needs to be housing because my particular area has a Catholic university there. So there's always going to be students that need
students. Yep.
And I also like to, I do have some single families, but I like to stay in the four units or under, just so if you do have one tenant that is in there vacant, then the other ones will still keep your mortgage and offset any cost to keep you still cash flow.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I like that strategy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like single family homes too for the purpose that they're really diversified, because I have so many exit strategies. Because if I buy a single family home, if it doesn't rent, I can retail it out.
Yeah.
You understand? There's, people get caught up in multifamily, like Grant Cardone, right? Grant's big time multifamily is good for people that have a lot of money. I don't have $100 million in my checking account, and most people don't. But if you have tons of cash, and putting them in a 100-unit apartment complex is the safest place to hedge inflation.
Yeah.
However, if you're just getting started, you need to start with single family homes. Find that sweet spot where you can buy a house for half of what it's worth in a good area that'll rent well, and stay in that middle zone. Now, and if it doesn't work out, if it was worth 100 and you paid 60 for it, and if it doesn't work out, you can retail it out for cheaper than if you paid 50 grand for it. You could just sell it for 80, and you can make it a smoking high deal for a full retail buyer. It's called a wholesale, right? Yeah. Not a wholesale, not a full retail, but a wholesale. Okay. You're wholesaling it to a full retail buyer. You can't lose if you buy it right.
No, I like that. That's good. When it comes down to, I'm glad you brought up Grant Cardone as well. I do want to eventually get into bigger multifamily units. One of my goals eventually is to get into a 100-unit complex, and I know until I get, for that first one, I'm definitely going to have to get like a syndication going together and bring some money partners together. Do you see yourself, what does the future kind of hold for you?
If I have tons of cash, I'm probably going to stick to mobile home parks. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
The cash on a mobile home park is ridiculous. You can get 30% annual return on a trailer park. You can't get a 30% annual return on an apartment complex.
Yeah.
However, from a holding value standpoint, the trailer parks don't hold up. An apartment a brick on slab apartment complex will last forever.
Yeah.
However, since I have my own wholesaling business, guess what? Every day, all day, I got people calling my office trying to sell me their mobile homes for not half of what they're worth, not even a third of what they're worth, 10 to 20% of what they're worth. I can pick up a trailer. That's 10 years old for $2,000.
Yeah.
And then spend $1,500 and haul it over there to my trailer park, and another $1,000 set it up. I'm into the whole thing for $5-6 grand, and I can put somebody in there for $750 a month.
Yeah.
You can't do that with an apartment complex.
Yeah. Okay.
Now the tenants are a little bit rougher.
It is.
Rougher. It's a trade-off: higher return, more headache. But it's all about property management. Just getting the right people in there. Make sure you get a family in there. Keep the trash out. Keep people that are on drugs out of there, and really managing it right. But from a cash flow perspective, you can't beat mobile home parks.
Yeah. No. It's so good because there is always going to be a trade-off, and you got to realize that when it comes to a sweet deal and you're getting that crazy equity or crazy cash flow each month, there's going to be a trade-off. So
if I get $20-30 million in my checking account and I got cash just sitting there not doing nothing, and I get a decent deal where I can get a 12% cap on a because it's the real estate itself will outlive a mobile home park because of the fact that it's a brick on slab. Most of these most of these multifamily will last through the ages. Anything that's a brick on slab is not going to just deteriorate. Yeah, you got to change a roof, you got to change out stuff of that nature. But from that standpoint, yes, it's a better investment. But from a cash flow standpoint, you can't beat mobile home parks.
Okay. So when it comes down to property management, what do you do for that?
So we have a girl in my office that helps me. You just got to really vet the tenant, really vet them.
all about the screening.
I messed up so bad. Let me tell you some of it. When I first got in investing, I was like, oh, anybody that has the money, the down payment, just let them in.
Yeah.
Do not do that.
Okay.
So I messed up big time. Make sure you got to vet them like a bank would vet me or you before they would let us borrow money. You have to do what's called an underwriting.
Yeah.
Where's your job at? Where's your place of employment? I want to see check stubs of how much money you make. Yeah. What are your expenses? Prove to me that your wife works. Okay, your wife has a job making $1,500 a month. You have a job making $2,000 a month. Your total income is $3,500. Okay, what's your car note and insurance? Okay, the car note and insurance is $400. Your grocery bill is about $500 a month. Your utilities is going to be $250. Your whatever it may be, extracurricular activities, another $500.
Yeah.
Okay, what's left in there now? After they can pay me my $750 a month, they still need to have at least 20% of disposable income. If they don't, they're living check to check, and eventually you're going to have to evict them.
That's right. I'm glad you brought that up because it comes down to a fine sucreening to really take away your headaches in the future. Because if you don't do that screening, then you are geared towards, and I'm more of a risk taker. So
Me too.
Even on paper, when I'm like, you know what, this guy, I got some faith about this one, which isn't the smartest move all the time. But I'm starting to get more in that rhythm of, the banks are drilling me. So I'm gonna act just like the bank, and I'm gonna drill you because this is my investment property. You're not gonna care about my property. I care about my property.
Right.
So I've had people recently, when I ask them about bank statements, that they get all defensive, like, why would you need that? And they don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm like, you must have never applied for anything because it really comes down to seeing people's spending habits, seeing how well they are with their own cash, and see, when they're going to have headaches in the future because their spending habits. Yeah, I like that. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. I think we're coming up on, we'll have to get out of here in a couple minutes, but, is there anything that, where do you see your future going? Just into the mobile home parks and getting bigger into that?
Mobile home parks. I want to invest in Florida and Texas as far as rentals. I think those two states are going to be really hot. More people moving to Texas and Florida than any other two states across the country. Well, Colorado too, but we know why everybody's moving to Colorado.
Yeah. California just legalized too, and everybody's always been out here, but yeah.
Well, but it's way too expensive to live out in California. It's hard to make a property cash flow in California. Texas and Florida is still affordable. All the baby boomers are retiring from across the country and moving to Florida.
Yep.
I think retired living facilities are going to be huge in the next 10 years because of all these baby boomers. I'm looking into doing something like that. But Texas, Florida, I'm going to probably really in the next couple of years, I'm going to really go hard after. I'm going to build a huge portfolio in Baton Rouge, and then after that, I'm looking to scale out in Houston and probably the Panhandle area of Florida.
Okay. Now, with your goal to build up a huge portfolio in your local area, are you doing the Grant Cardone approach and just want to sell that whole portfolio eventually to Wall Street?
Well, my goal is to become the single biggest. Sorry.
No worries.
Sorry. My goal is to have the single biggest privately owned single family home portfolio in the South.
Okay.
And I can do it because I have a wholesaling business, because I can get all the deals I need. That's the key ingredient. You need to start a wholesaling business.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That'll funnel you all the deals you need.
Hell yeah. I love that. So you do have a coaching program, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Do you mind just giving a little bit more information about that?
Yeah. So, I teach how to, become a professional wholesaling. I'm going to give you basically a master's degree on how to become a professional wholesaler. You can go to chrisrood.com.
Okay.
And book a call with my team and see if we can help you. It does require certain skill sets. It does require money. You got to spend money on marketing to generate leads. And you just got to be willing to work your ass off. But this is one of the funnest businesses to get into. I don't know of a better, more scalable business for the least amount of capital right now. This is Now, like I said, you got to have certain skills. You got to better communicate with people, and you got to be good at sales.
So you do vent people out. I mean, it's not for everyone, right? Like you have to qualify to actually be able to, you know, get your services, right? Okay.
Yep. You got to be at least spend $1,000 a month in marketing. You got to be a people person.
Yep.
Have, you know, be able to talk to people. And if you're not a people person, be willing at least to learn how to talk to people. We have all the scripts. We teach you, you know, I don't just teach you how to become a wholesaler. You know, a lot of my courses geared toward personal development, communication skills.
So for that,
yeah, it is.
Like, you know, that ground up. Yeah, I love that. That's good. I'm glad that you added that towards.
You know, it's just in the future, we're going to be adding more programs on buy and hold, more programs on fix and flip. But like the end goal, guys, is you start a wholesaling business to get the best deals to flip. And the cash you make from your wholesaling business, your flipping business, you need to be dumping it right into buy and holds. You can't wholesale and flip for the rest of your life. It's a grind. Yeah. The key is to build long-term wealth through buy and hold. That's the end goal. Right. Wholesaling is a means to an end.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Cool. So Chris, what do you do when you're not, you know, full into real estate?
Working on myself, my brother, mentally, spiritually, physically. Like I'm a geek for personal development. Like mind, body, spirit, man. You gotta get, if your body ain't right, your mind ain't gonna be right. If your mind ain't right, your spirit ain't gonna be right. It's all a triangle, man. You gotta get right everywhere. You gotta, if you're geared toward business, but you're 200 pounds overweight, I guarantee you, you know, you being overweight like that's going to hinder you from being the best version of yourself. If you're, you know, in great shape, but you're totally out ethics, meaning you have no integrity and you're totally, you know, just not doing the right thing, where you're going to be morally bankrupt and not get far in life. Like it's really, you've got to align yourself with all those three things. Take care of your body, take care of your mind, feed your mind every day, read.
Yeah.
Mindset books, always sharpening that skill, and work on yourself spiritually. I mean, whatever religion you are, you know, I don't care. Like tithing, give back to your community, give back to your church, you know, give back. Like every time I give, dude, I get back tenfold. Like, I mean, every time.
It's so true. Yeah.
So just personal development, man. That's what it's about. Personal development. Want to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah. I love that. That's awesome, brother. Yeah. So, I know before we actually started recording, you're encouraging me to get my workout on because you just got done the gym. So yeah, I appreciate that. It's good. It's good feedback.
Yeah.
And I know as well, you have a pretty good sized family, right?
That's right, man. I got 5 kids.
Okay. Cool.
My wife really loves me.
Yeah, that's right. Cool. Well, Chris, you are the man, brother. I appreciate you. Is there any other way besides the link that you gave for reaching out to you?
Absolutely. Follow me on YouTube. I give away a lot of free content. Go subscribe. I give tons of free content on real estate wholesaling and all kind of other, you know, branches of wholesaling. I mean, other branches of real investing. It's Chris Rood is the channel. Follow me on Instagram at Real Estate Rood. Follow me on Snapchat at Real Estate Rood. And go give me a like on my fan page at Chris Rood Entrepreneur, and just follow me on Grant Cardone's network. I'm affiliated with Grant Cardone. I'm the 10X Growth Con sponsor for this year's Growth Con in Vegas. I sponsored the whole event. So, man, just follow me, and I want to help you. I want to help you help yourself.
Cool.
You there?
Love that. Chris, you are the man. I appreciate you, brother, more than you'll ever know. Trust me. It really means a lot that you're giving up your time to actually, you know, give back to others and really cut their learning curve in half. So I appreciate you coming out here and giving up your time for that. Yeah, guys, my name is Brandon Elliott once again. If you want to reach me, check out the website, BrandonElliottInvestments.com. You can also email me, BrandonElliottInvestments@gmail.com. Till next time, thank you guys all for joining. Please leave a comment, like, review. Just share this with anybody else that is interested in real estate investing, so this can help them. Appreciate you guys all. Till next time. Chris, once again, thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. All right, guys. See you next time. Thank you. God bless.